Alright, so I actually have tickets to go see this movie on Friday when it comes out. I'm going with my dad and my brother. Yeah, my Broadway-loving younger brother who wants to work on Broadway someday. I've mentioned him a few times in my videos. He was under the impression that Friday will be my first time seeing this movie. Oops. Sorry, Jay. I'm sure it's okay though, because he's seen this movie already too. He watched like one of those early virtual screenings a couple months ago. So I guess we're even now. Alright, let's talk about it. In the Heights. In the Heights, I hang my flag up on display. So In the Heights is a film adaptation of the musical that Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote before he did Hamilton. Yeah, this is his lesser known musical. Not to say people don't know it, because a lot of people do, but generally speaking, I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume that more people know Hamilton than In the Heights. Case in point, myself, I really did not know the whole plot of In the Heights before I saw this movie, nor did I know a lot of the songs. Whereas Hamilton, I've known backwards and forwards for a while. So I've been really looking forward to this movie. The early reviews have been really good, and I am very glad to agree with them. So in the story of In the Heights, our main character is Usnavi, played in this movie by Anthony Ramos. You may know him as John Lawrence and Philip Hamilton from the original Broadway cast of Hamilton. He lives in Washington Heights, New York with his community, which is mostly, if not completely, Hispanic. Usnavi has hopes, he has dreams, as do most of the characters in this movie. In the Heights is the story of these characters. First off, Anthony Ramos as Usnavi was awesome. He's a great singer, he's a great performer, he's a great actor. I think if he wants to break into the movie business, this is the film that's gonna put him on the map. Yes, he filled Lin-Manuel Miranda's shoes very well, because he actually played Usnavi in the original show. Then we have Vanessa, played by Melissa Barrera. Usnavi has a big crush on her, and I can't blame him because, first of all, she's really hot, and second of all, she's really hot. But of course there is more to her character than that. She also has hopes and dreams, and I personally thought they were really cool to see in this movie. I'll just say they were shown in really cool ways. We also have Benny, played by Corey Hawkins, and Nina, played by Leslie Grace. These two characters have a thing going on. They're close friends with Usnavi, and you end up loving these characters too. Nina especially though. Nina has a great story I didn't even know about. It's pretty deep. It's really good. Honestly, it's probably one of the deepest parts of the movie for me. So props to Leslie Grace. But I also want to give a big shout out to Olga Meredith. She plays Abuela in this movie. Abuela Claudia. Abuela means grandmother. She was fantastic in this movie, man. There's a point in this movie, I'm not gonna spoil like what the song is about, but she has this big solo song, and I shit you not, after it was over, there was applause in the theater, cause it was really good. So huge props to her, just saying. Now, as I said before, I was not that familiar with the plot and characters and songs of the show before I saw this movie, but I did hear that there were some things that this movie cut out from the show, a couple of songs here and there, and even a character or two. Example, Jimmy Smits' character, in the show, his wife is still around and alive, but in this movie, they decided to make him a widow. Why? I'm not sure, but since this is really the first time I'm really seeing the story of the show for myself, it worked for me. Although I do have a strong feeling that fans of the show will still really like this movie, despite the changes it made. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda was involved in the creative process, beyond his minor role as the Piragua guy. So my logic is, if he's okay with the changes this movie made, then fans of the show should be too. That makes sense, right? I will be honest though, full transparency, as I was watching the movie, I did feel like it took a while for the plot to really get going. I mean, things do happen in Act 1, or the first half of the movie rather, and I was having a lot of fun with it, oh yeah. But the real emotional hard-hitting scenes don't really come into the movie until the second half, or Act 2, which honestly is how a lot of musicals are. I mean, Hamilton's like that. Act 1 is the build-up and it's a lot of fun, but then Act 2 is where shit gets real, and it hits you in the feels and you're like, oh, there go my heartstrings. I guess both of Lin-Manuel Miranda's shows are like that. So that's not a gripe towards the movie. It has a slower build-up, but that's good. This movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. It's justified. And yeah, the emotional scenes in the second half of the movie, they really hit me. Because by the end of Act 1, you know the characters, you're attached to them, you know their stories. So when things happen in Act 2, you're like, oh, that's so emotional. It's really landing. It really, really worked. I will say it does help to know some Spanish when going into this movie, because there will be some things that people say where you're like, I have no idea what that person just said. They're speaking complete Spanish right now. I don't know. I myself am not fluent in Spanish, but I know enough to where I could understand most of what the people were talking about in Spanish. Like, there's a point in the movie where a character says, "Mírame en los ojos." And it actually took me a second. I had to think about it. I was like, what does that mean? What? Oh, okay, I get that. It means look me in the eyes. So it doesn't hurt to know a little Spanish before going into this. I'm not saying you have to know any Spanish to enjoy this, because you will. I'm just saying it helps. It's like a nice bonus. And besides, the movie actually does help you out from time to time. It'll give you subtitles to tell you what something means. It helped. Also, for you Lin-Manuel Miranda fans, there are references in this movie to things, I'm not gonna give it away, but they're like Easter eggs and I really love them. So get excited for that. And of course I have to talk about the music in this movie, it being a musical and all. Yeah, the music in the Heights is completely awesome. It's got that Latino groove. The melodies are very catchy, the harmonies are really good, and there were some points in the movie where it really sounded like the characters were singing live as they were filming the scene. They weren't lip syncing to pre-recorded audio. I was like, holy shit, awesome! I haven't seen that in a movie musical since Les Mis in 2012. And in my video about that movie, I said that more movie musicals should do that because it just feels more real. And guess what? It felt more real and authentic in this movie. I mean, I could tell that not everything was sung live. Some things were like, yeah, that sounds a little too good to be live. But the points where it did, dude, huge extra props to that. And if the director, John M. Chu, decides to make that same decision for Wicked, I will love him forever. Yeah, he's directing the film adaptation of Wicked after this. The dance numbers in this film were completely awesome, very well choreographed. The pool scene, that's like the one that stands out in my mind as an amazing dance number. I'm not gonna say what song it is, but it was awesome. Also, the song where Benny and Nina are on the side of the building, that scene was also really well choreographed, really good. So that scene and the pool scene are like the two dance numbers that stand out in my mind as being really well choreographed. So in conclusion, wrapping this up, In the Heights is a fantastic movie. Coming from someone who was not that familiar with the plot and characters and songs of the show beforehand, I love the songs, I love the characters, I love the choreography, I love the visual effects. Some things happen in this movie where you're like, whoa, that's cool. I did not see that coming. And if John M. Chu's directing here is any indication, then Wicked is going to be everything I want it to be. Because that show I know very well, it's one of my all-time favorites, and so now I can sleep happy knowing that its film adaptation is in very good hands. For In the Heights, I will say, go see this movie right now. And there is a post-credits scene in this movie, so stick around after the credits because it's great. So In the Heights, okay, this movie's not out until Friday, so I can't really say what did you think about it unless you saw like one of those early screenings. So if you did, what did you think about it? If not, are you looking forward to this movie? Or have you seen the original show? What did you think about that? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.